Have you ever laid in bed at 2 a.m., completely exhausted, but your brain just won't shut up? You're replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, analyzing every word you said, every word they said, wondering if you came across wrong. Then somehow, and you're not even sure how, you've gone from that one conversation to questioning your entire career, your relationships, and every major life decision you've ever made, all before midnight. That right there is overthinking. And the scary part, most people do this every single day without even realizing it's a psychological pattern with a name, a cause, and, most importantly, a solution. So today we're going to get inside the overthinking mind. We'll look at what it actually is, why your brain does it, and exactly what you can do to finally break free. Let's get into it. First things first, what actually is overthinking? Because there's a big difference between thinking deeply about something and overthinking it. Deep thinking leads somewhere. It produces clarity, decisions, solutions. Overthinking, it just loops, over and over, without ever arriving anywhere useful. Psychologists define overthinking as repetitive, unproductive thought patterns that keep cycling without reaching resolution. And it comes in three main flavors. First, there's rumination. This is where you get stuck in the past, replaying old conversations, old mistakes, old embarrassments, like a mental highlight reel of everything you wish you could take back. Second is worry. This is future-focused. You're not replaying what happened, you're pre-living every possible bad outcome that could happen, catastrophizing before anything has even gone wrong. And third is analysis paralysis, where you get so deep into weighing every option, every angle, every possible consequence that you become completely frozen. You can't decide. You can't move. You just spin. Studies show that 73% of adults between the ages of 25 and 35 identify as chronic overthinkers. So if this sounds like you are far from alone. Now let's talk about what's actually happening inside your brain when you overthink, because this part is genuinely fascinating. There are three key brain regions involved. The first is the amygdala. Think of this as your brain's built-in alarm system. Its job is to scan for threats and trigger a stress response when it finds one. The problem is the amygdala cannot tell the difference between a real physical threat, like a lion chasing you, and a perceived social threat, like worrying that your boss's tone in that email seemed a little off. To the amygdala, both are emergencies. And when you overthink, you are essentially keeping that alarm bell ringing constantly. Your nervous system stays in a low-grade state of fight or flight, even when you're just sitting on your couch. The second region is the prefrontal cortex, the rational, logical, decision-making part of your brain. Under normal circumstances, this is what keeps the amygdala in check. But when anxiety levels get too high, the prefrontal cortex gets hijacked. Instead of solving problems, it starts generating more questions, more what-ifs, more worst-case scenarios. The third region is the default mode network, a set of brain areas that activate specifically when your mind is at rest and not focused on a task. This is the network responsible for daydreaming, self-reflection, and mind-wandering. In overthinkers, this network gets stuck in a loop, replaying the same thoughts on repeat like a broken record. Here's the most important thing to understand about all of this. Overthinking is not a sign of weakness. It is not a personality flaw. It is a survival mechanism that evolved to keep you safe. It's just dramatically misfiring in the modern world. So how do you actually know if you're an overthinker? Let's go through 5 telltale signs. Sign number 1, you replay conversations. Not just once, not just twice. You go over them again and again, picking apart every word, every pause, every facial expression. That slightly awkward thing you said at a party 4 years ago? Still on rotation. Sign number 2, decisions feel impossible. And we're not just talking about big life decisions. We're talking about the small ones too. What to order at a restaurant, whether to send that text with a period or without one. Every choice feels loaded with potential consequences, and your brain refuses to just pick one and move on. Sign number 3, you always expect the worst. Your brain has a remarkable talent for writing catastrophic storylines out of thin air. Someone doesn't text back for 2 hours, and suddenly you've already imagined the entire falling out in vivid detail. Sign number 4, you struggle to be present. Your body might be in the room, but your mind is either stuck 3 years in the past or anxiously racing 5 years into the future. The present moment feels almost impossible to access. And sign number 5, you're constantly searching for meaning. You analyze everything. A short reply, a change in someone's tone, a missed call. Nothing is taken at face value. Everything must mean something. And your brain will not rest until it figures out what. Okay, so if overthinking is this exhausting, this unproductive, this all-consuming, why on earth can't we just stop? This is the question everyone asks, and the answer comes down to 4 psychological reasons. The first is the illusion of control. When you're overthinking a problem, it genuinely feels like you're doing something about it. Like all that mental energy is productive, but it's not solving anything. It's just creating the feeling of solving something. And that feeling is oddly comforting. The second reason is negativity bias. Human brains are hardwired to give significantly more weight to negative outcomes than positive ones. Research suggests bad experiences impact us roughly 3 times more strongly than good ones. This made total sense in the prehistoric world, but today it means your brain is constantly scanning for danger, even when there is none. The third reason is that uncertainty is physically uncomfortable. Your nervous system genuinely struggles with not knowing. It would often rather predict a bad outcome with certainty than sit in the discomfort of not knowing what's going to happen. And the fourth reason is habit. The more you ruminate, the more you strengthen those neural pathways. Over time, overthinking stops being a response to stress and starts being your brain's default mode, your automatic go-to reaction to almost anything. All right, now for the part you've actually been waiting for. How do you break the cycle? And I want to be clear, these aren't just feel-good tips. These are evidence-based strategies backed by psychology and neuroscience research. Strategy 1, schedule a dedicated worry time. This sounds counterintuitive, but it works. Pick a 15-minute window each day and give yourself full permission to overthink during that time. When intrusive thoughts pop up outside that window, you tell yourself, "Not now. I'll think about that at 6 p.m." Over time, this trains your brain to contain the rumination rather than letting it run free all day. Strategy 2, the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. When you feel a spiral coming on, name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can physically touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This interrupts the thought loop by forcing your brain into the present moment. Strategy 3, cognitive diffusion, a technique from acceptance and commitment therapy. Instead of getting swept up in a thought, you observe it from a distance. You say to yourself, "I notice I'm having the thought that I'm going to fail." That small shift in language creates psychological space between you and the thought. It loses its power over you. Strategy 4, the action threshold rule. Whenever a thought starts spiraling, ask yourself one simple question. Can I take a concrete action on this right now? If yes, do it. If no, consciously choose to let it go, because thinking about it more will not help. Strategy 5, exercise and sleep. Both of these directly reduce amygdala reactivity. Regular physical movement lowers baseline anxiety levels, and sleep deprivation is one of the single biggest triggers of overthinking. Protect your sleep like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. And strategy 6, daily mindfulness practice. Even just 10 minutes a day of mindfulness meditation has been shown in clinical studies to physically change the structure of the default mode network within 8 weeks. You are literally rewiring your brain. Let's bring all of this to life with a scenario that might feel painfully familiar. You need to send a work email. Simple enough, right? At 0 seconds. Okay, does this email sound too blunt? Maybe I should soften the tone a little. 30 seconds in. Wait, what if they read it in a bad mood and think I'm being passive-aggressive? That would be really bad. 1 minute 30. You know what? I should probably just rewrite the whole thing from scratch. Start fresh, new angle. 2 minutes 45. Or, what if I just don't send it today? Would that be worse? Would that make me look unprofessional? Probably yes. Definitely yes. 4 minutes in, the fact that I cannot send a simple 3-sentence email, what does that actually say about me as a professional? As a person? Maybe I'm just fundamentally bad at communication. 5 minutes. I'll send it tomorrow. And the email sits in your drafts, unsent, for the fourth day in a row. If you just cringed a little, that's because you've been there. Let's bring it all home. Overthinking is not a character flaw. It is a misfired survival response. A brain trying to protect you in a world it wasn't fully designed for. It is driven by the amygdala's threat detection, the brain's negativity bias, and habit loops that deepen every time you engage with them. It shows up as rumination, worry, or analysis paralysis, and often all three at once. But here is the truth that I really want you to hold on to. You are not stuck like this. Your brain is neuroplastic. It can change. With consistent practice, grounding techniques, cognitive diffusion, 55, movement, better sleep, you can physically rewire the way your brain responds to uncertainty and stress. That is not motivational fluff. That is neuroscience. The mind that overthinks is also a mind that is deeply thoughtful, deeply caring, and deeply aware. The goal isn't to stop thinking, it's to think with intention. If this video gave you even one useful insight into how your mind works, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe for more psychology content just like this, and I'll see you in the next one.